What's up, everybody? Welcome to part two of the build of the 550X. My first kit helicopter. This is crazy, guys. This thing's huge. It's huge compared to what I'm used to. My 330X is the biggest one I have right now. And, because this thing's massive on comparison to what my 330X is. It's just huge. I love it. It's huge. Look at these things. Oh my gosh. Look, the tail grips are like the size of my 330X grips. But we're doing a lot today. This is part two. This isn't about all that other stuff. I'm getting sidetracked. I get sidetracked a lot. This is where I want to be, though. Look how beautiful this stuff is. Look at these servos. Metal cased, metal geared, high torque servos. I'm going to try to do the front gearbox today, the tail, the motor. I'm going to try to put the servo horns on. I just barely got this. I've played with it a little bit, but hey, let's see how it works. It's a servo checker, I believe. Servo tester? Huh? What is it? I don't know. I don't know which one to call it. But I've played with it. It works really good. What else are we going to try to do today? We're going to try to get the tail off the boom today, too. Get some boom boom action, guys. Look at this. See, look, the gearbox goes here, then the boom, then the tail, then the tall tail gearbox. Guys, this thing's huge. Look, it doesn't even fit in the camera right now. Huge. It is huge. I'm loving the size of this thing. Let's get going. Let's dive in and start building, guys. Yes! Please subscribe, please like. Thanks to anybody that's already done it. This is fun, this is awesome, and yeah, hope I help somebody also. Hope I help somebody, I don't know. Thanks, guys. Here we go. This is where we left off, is on this page. Moving on to servos. I think I'm just gonna pick a servo. Boom. Let's just start with this servo. It is, I didn't think I had my servo plates for a second, but I didn't realize that I needed bag 55HZ11. And then when I found 55HZ11, there's my servo plates. I didn't know where they were for a second. I was panicking, but they're here. They're all good. I just gotta make sure I grab all the baggies. Anyway, here we go. First servo, it says, put the rubber pieces in. I'm gonna do one of these servos, and then I'll do like a time lapse on the rest of them, guys. Do they go sideways or do they go straight up and down, guys? Which way do they go? I think they go that way, guys. That looks much better. Oh, look at that. That looks much better. Yeah, that first one I had was wrong. This is right. Here we go. Oh, muy bueno, huh? See. Almost looks like the rubber piece in the front is a little bit bigger than the back one. Are these square pieces the same size? It almost looks like the one side of the square is a little bit bigger than the other side. So I'm putting the bigger side looking one towards the front, the smaller one towards the inside. That's the way it is over here. Okay, brass collars going from the front on this one. The other ones are going to go in from different sides, like that one goes in from a different side. Nice. Look, there we go. They're all in. Rubbers are all in. Brass pieces are all in. And this thing is going to stand up this way in this spot. Oops, you guys can't even see, can you? You guys cannot even see anymore. Here. We are going in this slot right here. But the servo is going to be on the top side. Yeah? Yeah. Top side? Right here. And then you got to put the servo arm coming off this way. Stay. Nice looking servo arms, guys. Look at this. You know what I don't get, though? Look, this is what they give you for the cyclic servo arms, right? These nice aluminum looking things. What the heck is this? This is what they give you for the tail? Why can't I get an extra one of these? What's up with that? Just a thought. These are gorgeous looking though, see? Ooh. Should have put those all the way around. But we need a ball. It says to use the outer hole. But this one is going on the servo this way. And the ball is going to be on the inside, actually. So it's going to be on this side. Yeah, so outer hole. Yep, just like that. Okay. Before we can put that on, I need to power this up and make sure it's centered. We're plugged in. Let's push menu. We're gonna go to the servo test 1520. See, and then down here it says you can use the up and arrow to adjust. Just tap the button to go min. So we're at center right now. So if I put the arm on, should be safe, right? Because I'm at center, should be safe. So we'll put it at 90. Then I'll hit the button. Whoop. Yeah, look at that. Nice. Oh, yeah, smooth. Look, watch this. It has this too. Watch, auto cycle. Look, it's just gonna go through all of the different steps throughout the whole servo there. Look at that, guys. This thing's pretty cool, actually. Look at that. Okay, anyway, we are at center now. I'm gonna leave it plugged in at center. I'm gonna leave it powered up to make sure I get this servo horn as 90 as I can. And that tooth looks horrible, so let's go to the next tooth. That's as 90 as it's getting, guys. Yeah, that one's as 90 as we're getting. It doesn't look quite 90. It looks like it might be just a little too far forward, but that's okay. We can do that in pre-trim. But let's Loctite this thing. Sub-trim, pre-trim, whatever you want to call it. It's a Phillips. I wasn't expecting a Phillips, guys. I gotta go find a Phillips now. All right, here we go. Loctite this sucker up. I got a lot on it, but you know what? It's all right. Because I don't want it going anywhere. And I don't think it's going to hurt anything. I don't think it goes straight through to anywhere. So, okay, now when I tighten it up, I'm going to try to hold this arm itself so it's not fighting it from the motor. Is that how you're supposed to do it, or should I unplug it so it's not fighting it at all? And then I can just hold it. Maybe that's better. There we go. See, I knew I wasn't going to be holding it straight, and I didn't want to have the motor fighting me at the same time. So let's just make sure everything looks good. We're at center. Yeah! Oh man, so smooth. Look at you go. Okay, that is centered. It's at 0. It's at 90. Wow! Let's put that sucker on, huh? Oh, I gotta do the ball. Don't forget the ball, guys. Oh my goodness. Outer hole. Backwards. Lots of Loctite. Okay. Nice. Now, in the heli. Guys, I'm using the GoPro right now. Obviously, it's a different, maybe not obviously, but it's a different view than what I had going on last time. Maybe you didn't see the other one. But the GoPro's getting hot already, guys. I don't know if my GoPro's taking one too many hits off of the X-Max or what, but I can feel it getting hot already. I'm trying to keep these short, but I don't know, man. The GoPro's been acting all sorts of silly. So I'm pretty sure that's how it goes in. If it's sitting right there, it should have clearance to clear everything, shouldn't it? Let's see if it has clearance to clear everything, guys. Bolt it in. And of course it does. Okay. It just looked like it was going to be tight. Oops, that's not good. It looked like it was going to be tight, but it's just, yeah, man, good engineering. It's just a tight setup in there, right? Okay. Cool. We'll drop that in with these screws. Like, I'm not going to go tight with those until I get all 4 of them in. So I know it's lined up. Guys, look at this. She's getting electronics. Ooh, she's going to be alive soon. It's okay, girl. You'll be alive soon. We'll give you a name. You already got a name, actually. 550X. I can't name you. She's X. She's X-rated, guys. It's going to be crazy. Nice. First electronic in. Guys, that is 1 servo in. I'm going to do the other servos off camera because it's going to take a while. And the GoPro is quite hot. And it's the exact same thing. So lots of ands. But look at that. She is in, lined up. The line's upside down. That's okay. I don't think there's one I could put in there that wouldn't have been upside down. Just the way that servo is. Cool. I'm gonna put those other servos in and I'll be right back, guys. Those went in pretty good. I'm not 100% too sure where to run the wires right now. They're all hanging out right here. I believe the receiver's gonna go in here, I think. Man, I'm not 100% sure. So the end of them are still loose. These other ones I got tied up inside. It looks like they're supposed to go inside. These are all cut out. They looks like they would go inside. They're a little close on length, but that's okay. Look, this is another weird thing too here, guys. On the tail servo, I don't know why they did this, but they had that 4-way plastic servo horn, but they just had me cut the other 3 off. Like, what's the point of that? I would have rather just paid for a nice looking one. Unless there's a reason for this. Is there a reason for this, guys? For it to be like that? Like a breakaway part? Maybe it's a breakaway part. I don't know. Okay, anyway, we're going to move on to the motor. So I'm going to get the motor. Here, look, check it. Okay, I got the motor. I got the pinion. I got the plate. I got all the screws over here. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to leave this loose, actually. I'm going to put it on, but I'm going to leave it kind of loose-ish, just because I'm not too sure where it needs to be set, the height of it. And then this is just going to go right on top of that, but I need to make sure the wires are going to the right. I think to the right. That's where the ESC is going to be going. But the ESC has quite long wires, guys. Here, look, guys, here's the ESC for it. If I do put that in there, absolutely gorgeous looking ESC. Wow, those are sharp. But, okay, here, check it out. When I put these in, see, now the motor wires are like clear inside. What am I supposed to do with that much excess wire, guys? Okay, well, I'm gonna get that figured out. I gotta make these in like short little bursts because I'm using the GoPro. Anyway, let me work this out, guys. Let me see if I can get these figured out. See where the ESC goes and the motor goes. Well, I know where the motor goes. I just don't know which way to point the wires. That way or that way. Left or right of this little block here. Don't know. Let me work through that and then we'll come back. One thing to pay close attention to, guys, is these balls on the front 2 servos here. They are different than this back servo and the tail servo. These ones don't have that little shoulder. If you look closely, there's no shoulder really close to the servo horn. These ones are a little bit longer and they have that like shoulder right next to it. So pay attention. These back 2 do not have it and these front 2 do have it. Let's try to get this rear gearbox in. I guess it's the front gearbox, but it's the rear of the frame, but it's the front of the tail. You guys know what I mean. I hope you know what I mean. Okay, we'll try to get this in and then we'll come back again. There's not much to this, guys. There's nothing to grease in here. There's 2 bearings inside. It's got this umbrella gear and then these 2 gears here. And then inside is where everything, where the torque tube is gonna go. I'm just gonna drop some oil down on that bearing. There's 2 bearings inside where that umbrella gear is. And then there's a bearing right there. And a bearing right there. I'm just gonna oil those, bolt it in. And that's about all there is for that piece there. Not much. I like that. This is where I've got so far, guys. Look at this thing. It looks like a heli. Look, I got the boom just kind of sitting in here. I got the rear gearbox in. The book doesn't say to yet. I'm supposed to put this all together as a whole unit and then put it on. But I wanted this whole body put together here. Nothing left here. I guess the anti-rotation bracket. I think these wires are okay. I'm still a little bit worried. I don't know exactly what else to do with them. It's starting to get some weight, guys, with these servos and the motor and everything in it. Oh man, this is cool. Look how big this thing is. But look, I got the ESC in. I still am not super excited about where these are. I might have to work some more. This motor spins. It's an outrunner type motor, so if anything's touching that, bad. That'll be bad. But look at this thing, guys. It is getting there. I don't know what else to mention at this point. I still got to figure out if these are correct. After I figure out some of these wires, then I'll probably get back on the camera and we'll start working on the tail. I think so, guys. We're getting close. This is awesome. Okay, let me get these wires figured out a little bit better. Been working on the wiring a little bit. One thing I want to say really quick before I forget though, is I put this gearbox, the front gearbox in, and I tightened down all the screws for it with Loctite first. The torque tube comes into about this point right here. Not the torque tube, just the tail boom itself. Comes into about this point here-ish. So with me tightening this down, I could not get this in. I had to re-loosen this back up. So if you're gonna put the rear gearbox in, don't tighten them all the way, or shove the tail boom in all the way first, and then that won't be an issue. But I've been working on the wiring, guys. I've been trying to get this layout down. I got the Micro Beast fly barless controller in here. I actually ended up taking the motor back out and spinning it. The wires used to exit off the motor off of this side over here. I have it exiting off of this side. I looked on Align's website, and it's very hard to see the picture they have, but the picture they have shows it coming off this side, which actually made the wires fit a little bit better. They're still super tight. I'm gonna zip tie them up to the side, out of the way still a little bit. They're still a little bit tighter than I wanted, but they're in there. But the fly barless controller unit, it's gonna be sitting here. Wires out of the way, I think will be good. My AR8020T, I think is gonna be down here on the side. I think the book recommends up on the side like this. I don't think it recommends that. It says this side is for the receiver. But I've seen a lot of guys laying it flat, which I kind of like the idea of laying that thing flat instead of up on the side. I don't know if it's going to make a difference at all, but the wires still look fine. Everything looks fine. Antennas will route nicely. I got the other antenna coming out the side. I got to get some connectors for this. Gosh, it's so close. It's getting there, guys. This is my first heli, so it's taken me a lot longer than it probably should, but oh well, right? That's the way things work. But let's work on the torque tube. I got a little bit excited. I've been jumping around steps. I put the tail on already. This is just finger tight, but I just wanted to see the way it looks, guys. And it looks amazing. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Plus the size of this thing is just huge. Anyway, we'll just set that here still. Trying to get this bearing on. You got to glue this bearing on. It's got a this 550. It's awesome, guys. It's basically a 600. Everything is a 600. So it's amazing. Everything says 600. 600. The spindle I had to order because I scratched was 600. It's awesome. I have a 600. It's awesome. But you got to glue this bearing on. This bearing slides around, and you got to glue it in there so it'll stay inside the boom better. I believe you're supposed to put it. Here, let's look. According to the book here, it says the bearing's right here. It says neutral point of torque tube. I'm guessing that is the center of gravity, the balance point, right? Neutral point. Gotta be, right? And then the bearing trim is 5 to 7 centimeters. Is that like what I'm allowed to be off in between? I don't know. I think that's what it means, and it would make sense to me that the bearing is in the middle. So the middle of this thing is, if you're going from the metal tips, which I am here, then it is 13 3/4 is where this bearing has to be. So right there. And I actually put it on the table too, and right at 13 3/4, it actually wants to balance too. It's like a little seesaw. So that is the perfect neutral point, I think. Now I gotta super glue it. Quick, right? I gotta do this quickly. I'm gonna try to just make a small bead because I don't want to make this a mess. And if you get any of this super glue anywhere else, you're done for. Look, I globbed it on there a little bit, so I'm gonna use this. Smeared around. Oh, what have I done? Oh no. That's on there pretty nasty, guys. Okay, that's on there nasty. We'll slide it in place right there. And hopefully I did not glue that outer race to the inner race. I gooped it up, guys. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. It's still spinning. I really hope this helicopter flies when I'm done, guys. Yeah. Okie dokie. That is on. And it's still spinning. I'm gonna wait a little bit for that super glue to dry all the way. Then we got this little rubber bushing right here. This little guy right here. It's in bag 55 FLT2A. I haven't really been naming off the bag numbers, but the book says off really well. Pay attention in the book. The book tells you what the numbers are. This little rubber piece is gonna go around the bearing. Then we're gonna oil it up, and then we're gonna use this plastic tube here that comes with the kit. We're gonna shove the whole thing down the tail boom of the helicopter. While that glue's drying all the way, let's start working on the tailpiece, which doesn't look too bad, I guess. Doesn't look so bad. I think I'm gonna start by taking this, the slider. I don't know all the names for these guys too. I'm gonna sound like a totally new guy. I'm gonna take the slider off and the rear grips off. I think that'll be the best way to get started here. That way I can get the, there we go. Should we turn it sideways like that? What's the best way, guys? I'm still working on camera angles and stuff. Gonna take that off. And I think these two screws down here, and I should be able to get this whole slider off. I'll just take that all the way out. I was gonna leave it, but let's just take it. And then underside, I believe this should slide off, guys. Nice. Everything slid off just fine. Perfect. Okay, I'm just gonna set that to the side for a second, and we are gonna focus on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 screws right here. That one is much longer, guys. The other ones are the same size, but that rear one goes all the way through, much longer. Just take note of that. I'm sure that's quite an obvious note, but... And then these covers should just pull off. I don't think you need to pull it off if you don't want to. I'm gonna pull it off and just take some of this oil I have and just drip it in here. That way I can make sure the front side and the back side of these bearings are nice and coated, guys. I want this thing coated. These parts are beautiful too, guys. Look at these. Everything says Align on there very nicely. Aluminum part there. Oh my gosh. They're gorgeous. It's such a good looking helicopter. Also, I was going to take this umbrella gear out. Should just slide out. There we go. Just put some oil down in there. Make it all nice and wet. Why? Why not? It's like an enclosed pocket in there. So I dumped a... I don't know if you guys see that. Sometimes I hold it too high up here and I'm just working on it. The camera's in my face, so I gotta hold it up high so I can see it. But there's a pocket in here. So by the time I put this umbrella gear back in there, that pocket should just be kind of full of a little bit of extra oil for future use on itself. There we go. And start Loctiting these. Uh-oh, guys, look what I did. I did not put that together right. There's no way I can slide that gear in with this put together. So coming back apart again already. Then we can put that together. Okay. All right, got that done. I don't know what to do now, guys. Like, as far as, man, should I slide this back on? Loctite these two that I took out? Or should I just build the whole thing? Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that. I was wondering that, or if I should just build the whole thing down here and then put it back on. But I think I'm going to just slide it on now. That way I don't get any of these parts upside down or twisted. This one has bearings in it, guys, so I'm not gonna Loctite the screw. I am going to dump Loctite down the hole and then put the screw in. And the GoPro's dying, so I gotta change batteries. Okay, new battery in, nice and juiced up. I went ahead and put those screws in. I just used my little, I want to call it a Q-tip, but it's not, it's a craft stick. It's a Tamiya craft stick. I'll leave a link for it, guys. It's working pretty good. It's not as absorbent as it looked. Like, it actually let me get some Loctite down in the hole really well. So, anyway, I got this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and then that one, and that one already done and Loctited. The bearings are all oiled. Everything moves freely. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this screw, this screw, this screw, this screw, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and the ball link. I'm gonna go through and Loctite all of those guys up into the rear grips here, and then I'll get the camera back on so we can do the greasing of the rear grips. Yes, okay, here we go. Guys, I almost made a very fatal mistake. Going back through the book, I was looking at some tail stuff, and I found this slide shaft right here. And it says to put the T43 on the slide shaft. I'm like, what, this slide shaft? I didn't even take a slide shaft out. And look at this. There is totally a slide shaft in here. I did not Loctite that. It goes right to the grip control. So make sure you Loctite that. It's got 2 flats on this side to get a wrench on there. I'm not sure what size the wrench is. I just unscrewed it with my finger. It was very loose. So don't forget that part. I think that could be crash, very fatal. So Loctite this. I'm going to Loctite it and we'll move on. This is done. I didn't do these ones, guys. I know I said I was going to do these ones, but obviously I can't because they are attached to the grips. But the rest of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I don't know how many screws there are. There's a lot of screws here, guys. Fully taken apart, disassembled, sliding nicely. Everything feels good. I had one of these control links. I didn't have it too tight. I actually had too much Loctite on one of the screws, and I think it squished back into the control link, and one of them was getting tight, so I took it back apart. But they're both very free now. They fall down now on their own, so it might have been that one. See, it's still a little bit stiff, but I cleaned it out. It should be mostly good. All right, let's do the grips. Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad, right? Let's just do one side at a time for now, guys. Why? Why not? I don't know. Because I'm new at this. Is that normal? Do one side at a time. Okay, I see down in there, I see the bearing. I also see the washer in between the thrust washer and the other bearing down in there. So that's in there. It's a little tiny thing. I am still going to fill it up with oil. I'm not going to fill it up with oil, but you know, I'm going to give it some love with oil. That should be good. That's the bolt for it. And my stack of, oh, I was putting that away. That's where my stack of stuff is. Okay, there's the inner, the outer, and see, from what I know, this was on backwards then. It should be facing the other way. Should be facing that way. That way, while it's spinning, it'll be more in the cup shape. Will be holding the grease in better. So that's the way I'm going to put it back in. If not, grease will be flinging everywhere. Then we got the washer and the outer. Okay, no problem. Let me get some grease. I'm using this. If you haven't seen my other part 1, or yeah, just part 1, because this is part 2. But this is what I'm using: Racer's Edge 3023 O-ring grease. It's going to be good for all of this stuff, man. Plus O-ring safe for the dampeners up top, you know. I'm putting them here so I don't get my awesome Align build work mat dirty. There's almost no grease in this thing, guys. None at all. That's okay. I'm kind of surprised the front ones had any grease too, you know, because it's not the factory's job to be greased. That's our job. That looks good and greased. Okay, let's drop these in. I have this one. It says in within. You know what? Probably should have just made the, let's just make the sandwich out of it. Okay, outer, and then bearing, inner. Then I need to actually, I think, wipe the end of that off, because I got grease on the end of that screw, so that's going to affect the Loctite. I'm going to put some Loctite right down in there, guys. I really can't tell if I'm getting Loctite down in there or not. There's like a little step down in there. It's not instantly threads. There's a little bit of a gap before the threads start. So I don't know if I'm getting there. Let's try this risky situation here. Let's drop some Loctite on this, and then ever so carefully try to drop it in there. And ever so carefully try not to touch anything on the way in. Nice. And I don't have any way to tighten it down, so I'm gonna put a, all right, that shouldn't come loose. Ooh, and it feels nice still. All right, other side, exactly the same. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Both of them are greased. Feels good. This side actually feels a little bit looser than this side. And you can almost see a slight gap in this side and not on this side. But guys, I have them built the same inside and tightened down to the same inside, so. But they feel good. Let's put the rest together. I think I'm gonna put that set screw in there first so I'm not fighting it. And that little screw has a lot depending on it, so I'm putting a little extra in here. There's a dimple in that shaft, and just to make sure I'm in it, I'm gonna snug it down and then back it out 1/4 of a turn and make sure I can feel that I'm in that pocket. And it sure feels like it. So I'm gonna wiggle everything as I tighten down. Okay, 2 more screws. 2 more screws will be done, huh? Ish, done-ish. It's not gonna be done. Look, I'm gonna leave the collar on the screw and then put that part in Loctite. Oopsie. I think I just smeared more Loctite all over the place than I wanted to. Let's try putting Loctite down in the hole on this one. It's done, guys. It feels a little tight on the inside. Like, it feels good all out here, but when I get to the inside, it's a little bit tight to come back out. Is that normal? Like, it's loose though. Like, it's not anything that's bound up. The screws aren't bound up. It's just that one spot. When I control it from the grips, I don't really feel that spot either. It's just when I control it from down here, so. And it's really not that bad. Maybe it just needs more oil. All right, well, I think we're done, guys. Everything feels good here. Spins good. Everything's Loctited. Yeah, everything's Loctited. Cool. It's actually showing to put the rear tail blades on right now even, guys. That's awesome. I'm down with that, man. I like the sounds of putting the blades on. I'll put this one step closer again, right? Okay, so that's a little bit too tight. I don't like them that tight. I just like them to where they barely can't flop around. That's floppy. That's barely not floppy. Okay, right there. And there we have it. Beautiful. Oh yeah, beautiful. Okay, the rear's done. Let's try to shove this in there now, I guess. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on this here. Maybe help it pop into that bearing. This bearing still moves just fine. I didn't hurt anything. All right, got the rubber around the bearing there. Everything feels good. I am going to lube this up really well. I'm even going to squirt just a little bit of oil on the inside here. I can't tell if I'm squirting oil or not. Oh, yeah, I think I was, guys. That's okay, oil's good, right? Okay, let's shove this in there now. And then using this tube that comes with it, can't tell if that went or not, so let me shove a little bit further. There we go. That feels better. My torque tube is in, and with the torque tube in, I should be able to just slide this on, I think. Okay, we were right there. I just couldn't tell, guys, so I had to take that off. There's a little hole there, and this cover has a little dimple on it. So you'll know you're in the right place when those line up. These screws might actually get the tail fin on it. I don't know. Oh my gosh, look at that, guys. Oops, that one's a little loose. You know, it doesn't feel as smooth as like my 330 belt drive. But I think what I'm feeling is all these gears in here. There's these gears. Oh my gosh. I gotta adjust those a little bit. There's gears back here. And there's gears all the way up here on both sides. I think that's what I'm feeling. And that's why it feels a little bit roughish to me. But it is going very, very well. So, I don't know. We'll move on. This vertical tail fin here, this totally went in those 2 screws. So I'm glad I didn't tighten those up yet. But now it's on. They're Loctited. This one's on. The horizontal one, I think it's called. It recommends in the book to wrap tape. What kind of tape? It says Scotch tape. It says to wrap underneath this mount with Scotch tape. I haven't done that yet. I wanted to get these other support brackets on so I know exactly where it was going. Now I could mark it, take it back off, and then put Scotch tape back on there. But it says to put Scotch tape on there to help from slipping. I mean, everything else is on. I got the servo tail push rod going on. The blade's on. Everything's looking good in the back. Wow, that was crazy. Everything's looking good in the back, guys. It's looking good. Look, I can get everything working. Oh, it's so close. Everything's looking so close. And this is actually all the parts we have left. So that's not even parts. That's just straps. Like basically the main gear and the links from the servo up to the swash plate. That's like it, guys. Like the rest of this stuff isn't even really parts. So woo, we are close. Let's finish this out and then we can end part 2. And then we'll make part 3 some of the wiring and programming and stuff. But yeah, right on, guys. Here we go. Let's do some main gear action, guys. There's not much to this, I don't think. It says to grease the one-way bearing shaft, and other than that, like all these screws are going into plastic, so I don't think there's really going to be a whole lot of like any Loctiting, not just a whole lot of, but any. Oops, I picked that up. I already took the screw out, so when I picked it up it fell apart there. Make sure this washer stays somewhere. I can't get it off now. Bad washer. Oh jeez, really? Okay, so that spacer needs to stay in there. Make sure you don't lose that. And then basically, I think we're gonna just take this shaft out here and grease it up a little bit. I'm gonna use the same grease I've been using. Nice and lubed. I'm also gonna take some of this grease and put right down in on those needles for the one-way bearing. I'm pretty sure they probably didn't have it as packed as I'd like it. So we're gonna pack it in there for them. For me, it's for me, not for them, right? It's for me. Now this should slide right back in. Probably gonna get a lot of squish out of it. Not that bad, a lot of grease stayed in, that's good. And then make sure your washer or your spacer stays there. Nice, nice. Now this is gonna be kind of tricky to get lined up once you're inside the helicopter, but you gotta get that hole lined up, and then with the shaft hole too, and then get it lined up to the shaft that's coming through here. I still don't have the shaft done. Well, it's done, but I guess it doesn't stay in there until that bolt's in there. These are the 2 spacers that came with the main shaft. One of them's thicker, one of them's thinner. I'm gonna try using the thinner one first, guys, and see how it works out. Slide that on first, then down. I really don't think that it's gonna shim perfectly without them, so let's just try the skinny one. Actually, I'm gonna get that all on. I was gonna say I'll cut you guys out, but maybe not. Is that it? Is that all the way down? Oh, that is all the way down. Okay, nice. That wasn't too bad. I don't think there's much to see here, so I'm gonna line that screw up and then we'll get back on again later. The main gear was not a problem, guys. I managed to nail that first try with that smaller shim. Real nice. It feels good too. There's no play in it. Well, actually there is right now because I loosened up these 2 bolts right here for the head. I'm gonna be taking the head back off to put the swash leveler back on to get it level, of course. But guys, it is almost done. There's not much to it left. I've been working on it in between too. Wiring is what I've been working on. A lot of the wiring I just started putting in there because of the motor wires. I was trying to figure out where to put the motor wires. It's a tight squeeze in there, especially with this motor being the outrunner type motor. This whole thing's spinning, so wires can't be touching that at all, guys. But it's almost done. This is gonna be the end of part 2 of the build. Unfortunately yet, I can't edit it because the computer's full, but that external hard drive's coming. And then I can empty my computer and then do some more editing and then get this video out. Guys, it's been crazy busy. Look here, I got these grommets glued in. You got to glue in the first ring there. There's a little black ring that goes on first, and then the white ring or the white grommet goes all the way through. We got the canopy all done. Guys, this thing is huge. It is massive. Holy cow. I can't believe the size difference. Like, this thing is not... I used to think my 330 was huge because that was my biggest helicopter. But this, compared to my 330X, is just massive. It is huge, guys. Oh, I'm excited to fly it. It's gonna be so awesome. Guys, thanks for watching. I know I'm not putting my face up in the screen right now, but thanks for watching. This is the end of part 2 for sure. It's gonna be amazing, guys. I gotta get this wiring figured out and the programming and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's still gonna be a little bit, but everybody, thanks for watching. Please like, please subscribe, because yeah, this is my first helicopter build and it's gonna be real interesting on if it flies, on if it's on its first flight or not. So yeah, you don't want to miss it. Please subscribe, guys. Thank you, and we'll see you on part 3.